Welcome everybody to week 4. And our focus for this week is connecting with generosity. And the place I'd like to start is how we can connect to people's work. So these are the people that we're focusing on. And if you remember, we've been using this table as a way to summarize what we've been doing and how we've been working. So starting with intention, and you'll remember that mine is to connect, share and learn about self-management in health and care. And last week we looked at who we wanted to connect with who may have some contribution to our intention, where we can find people, whether that's Twitter, Facebook, follow a blog, LinkedIn, or follow a podcast, thinking about where we're up to with our relationship right now. And now we're moving into how we contribute, how we connect with people, and how we do that with generosity. So I want to show you a couple of examples of a couple of people on my list. So let's start again with Aaron Dignam. So this is how I found Aaron on LinkedIn. So I connected with him there. Here he is on Twitter. And as you'll see, he points to the Ready, which is an organisation, a consultancy organisation that's based around his book, and also a website, Brave New Work. So to see if I could find other ways of connecting with him, I then went to his website, Brave New Work. So here it is. So if you go to Brave New Work, it's an opportunity to sign up to get more stories, tools and tips from Brave New Work in your inbox. So I did that straight away. And what happened next is I got this email from Sam. So what's slightly different here, and I'm sorry it's jumped off the page a bit, is there's a personal message from Sam, that's his photo, and he invites you to email back. Now, most people who do this kind of e-newsletter, it doesn't feel as personal as that. So I took the opportunity and emailed back. So I emailed back. I talked about being one of Seth's coaches. I talked about Buurtzorg. I mentioned Susan Baskerville from Inspiral, who they mentioned in the book. And I asked my question, other than Buurtzorg, are there any health or care organisations who you know who are exploring self-management? And he comes back with, thanks for reaching out, but it seems like healthcare is one of the few industries where they don't have great examples other than Buurtzorg, and suggests that I Google. So, and he also says, because I asked him about guides for the book in a separate email too, he says they don't have any discussion guides for Brave New Work, but he'll check with Aaron and their aspiration to create a robust community practice. So on the face of it, I don't get very far, but what I have done is signal out myself as somebody who's interested in health and care, who wants to be part of their community, who's got ideas about discussion guides for books, and who knows what will happen next. So that's where we're up to with that. But what's also interesting is I am intentionally sending out the book to people that I think might be interested in it. And one of the people that I sent it to is my colleague, CEO of Making Space, Rachel. Rachel then took a photo and tweeted about it. And Sam, the same Sam that has responded to me, liked that tweet as well. So I'm just gently engaging with Sam, not so much Aaron, and identifying myself as somebody who's excited about the book. So not asking for anything specific other than does he know of other people who are in this space, but clearly identifying myself as somebody who wants to commit to this community. So let's see what happens. So that's the first thing, is connecting with people's work, seeing if you can sign up to newsletters, getting engaged with them and showing your appreciation of their work. But there's a way that you can do that much more directly. So complimenting and celebrating people's work. So somebody else who's on my list is Corporate Rebels. And one of the things that they tweeted about last week was that they've been shortlisted as one of the 50 thinkers for the Radar Award, and checking out our latest blog. So a really simple thing you can do, as I've done here, is just to appreciate and celebrate with them their nomination, which is brilliant news. So just doing simple things like that is a way of turning up with generosity with the people that you're interested in who are connected to your intention. Another way that you can go further than that is compliment people, but also share their information or their work with others. So I'd like to share an example of that with you. So one of my new practices is trying to listen to Leadermorphosis blogs every Thursday, and reading Corporate Rebels work on a Tuesday, and then trying to connect with them about it and share it with other people. So I re-listened to the podcast with Zoe Nicholson from here. And as you can see here, I'm appreciating Disrupt and Learn. That's Lisa Gill, who's on my list, for her excellent podcasting, and with Zoe as well. But sharing it with Danny, who's on our group too, saying, I think you'll enjoy this. Because it reflects the commitment that Danny's making. And this is Danny's intention, if you go back to our intention list on Slack, and also using the hashtag self-management. So how can you share the work of people that you are on your list, who you're connected to, with others who might also be interested, and using it as an opportunity to appreciate people and use the hashtag. And then another way of doing it, and this isn't from my list, but you'll see how Anne's doing a great job of this as well, is the books that you are reading. You can go back to either a really simple app like Wordswag that I've been using, and take a quote out of the book. So I've been reading the Better Work Together book by Inspiral, and actually Lisa Gill is part of Inspiral, so it kind of connects to my list. Clearly I'm using self-management as a hashtag as well, and saying thank you to the authors, Susan Basterfield and Anthony. So here's a great quote from the book about what successful organisations look like, that I posted on LinkedIn. And here's our own Anne doing the same. So Anne's been reading The Fearless Organisation. She connects it to our work. She mentions me and this group, and takes a photo of the page that she's excited about, and using other hashtags too. So that's a great way of doing that. And of course, copying Amy into the tweet there. So great work, Anne. So back to our list, I'm going to invite you to go back to some of the people whose relationships you're focused on, thinking about how you could connect with them with generosity. So number one on the contribute list is making an appreciative comment, and I've shown you how I've been doing that. Congratulating them on a new job or milestone, or in Corporate Rebels, an award. A public thank you to Lisa about her podcast. I haven't shown you an example of encouragement or support. I've asked questions of others to help people share their expertise. I've been asking Erin and the Ready whether they've got they're hosting book clubs around what they're doing, sharing resources like the podcast with other people like Danny. So just some examples of the kind of things that we've been doing. And then finally, although we've been very much focused on how to do this digitally, let's not lose sight of the joy of getting something in the post or a handwritten note. So one of the things that I've really been using and inviting our team to use as well in wellbeing teams is the loveyou2.org, which was developed by Shannon Webber, who's somebody from Seth Godin's, who I met us on Seth Godin's coaching experience, Alt MBA, and she's set up Love You Too, which are downloadable love notes that you can download, print off, and post to people. So I both handwrite them, but some of the people on my list, I don't actually have their address. This is one that I did to Lisa Gill, and I said, I like the inspiration information from your brilliant podcast, thank you. But because I don't have her snail mail address, I took a photo of it and then uploaded it as a direct message on Twitter, so you can still use it that way. So this is a great way of starting to do handwritten notes to people where that's appropriate, depending on the level of connection and relationship that you have. So back to our small groups now. What's happened to you since the last week? If you could spend 10 minutes talking about that. Are there ways that you can get started on this week's tasks? Reflections on what you intend to do, what you plan to do for the next week. And please remember to both post in I intend to on Slack at the end of this session, and it may be helpful to have rules of facilitator and timekeeper. And I want to say, I also know that some of you don't do any of this at all, and that's absolutely fine. Trust you to be using your time in the way that most sense to you, and how great it is to connect with such a diverse group. So use your time in whatever makes sense to you. And then finally, in terms of next week, please post in next week. I will offer your contributions, continue with your habit stackings. We're going to build on connecting with generosity next week, but also look at how we can show up with groups and what else we might want to do around connecting with people. So thank you very much, and I will see you on Slack.